October is Paint Phoenix Purple Month, a public service campaign to raise awareness against domestic violence. With your help, we can make Phoenix a national leader in domestic violence prevention and victim assistance. Hello, I'm Deborah Cedillo-Dugan, and welcome to this virtual report. This report today is on domestic violence. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men will be abused at some point in their lives. Here to talk a little bit more about this issue is Tammy Rivera. She is with the City of Phoenix. She oversees the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign. It's a citywide initiative. And one of our partners, Jenna Panis. Jenna is actually with the Arizona Coalition to End Domestic Violence. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to kick it off right now to take a look at what the city is doing to make a difference in our community. Tammy, let's talk about the initiative.
Yes, here today. As Deborah indicated, I work with the City of Phoenix Paint Phoenix Purple campaign. And what our goal is to really work on combating domestic violence here in our community. The City of Phoenix has been working on this issue since 2012, when they brought together over 50 stakeholders to look at the issue and see what the city could do to help make a difference. In 2013, they developed a 5-year plan, and the plan was approved by the mayor and city council. We're now going on our 8th year of this campaign. In 2019, we took a look at the goals and we were able to create some new goals. And we have probably closer to 75 to 100 stakeholders now that we work very closely with in the community at all levels. We work doing not only prevention, but early intervention.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. And obviously one of our partners, a very important partner, is Arizona Coalition to End Domestic Violence. Jenna, this is a huge problem, not just in our community, but nationwide. And now with COVID happening, I know it's on the rise. I started out with some stats, but let's talk about really big picture and just how big this issue is right here in Phoenix.
Thank you. Yes, we've seen some rather unprecedented increase in both lethality and severity of domestic violence at times right with the start of COVID. So while in the city of Phoenix, we have seen increased rates of homicide, our supposition at this point is that unfortunately the isolation caused by COVID with survivors or victims being in their homes with their perpetrators, unable to go to work or reach out to friends or reach out to family, this is what's increasing these issues. And so it is ever a need to make sure that folks are aware that providers of services that combat domestic violence have never shut down for COVID and continue to operate and continue to offer the same services and are still available in the community.
And speaking of COVID too, and again, the isolation's in your home, but some people have lost their jobs. So it could be so they're not only isolated with their perpetrator because he's not going to work, or she's not going to work because maybe they have lost their jobs, and the money situation's financial. It's just a whole spiraling effect. Let's talk about the partnership and the many services, Jenna, your organization does in fact provide.
We are the statewide coalition that provides training and technical assistance to all of the providers in the area and work with the city of Phoenix in order to make sure that funds get to those service providers, as well as to ensure that providers are operating at best practice standards.
And Tammy, I know that's a very important partnership, especially now with the Paint Phoenix Purple campaign. You kind of gave us an overview of the campaign, and we're in our 8th year. Let's talk about some of the things you have done and what's really anticipating for this year.
Definitely, and I wanted to touch a little bit on what was mentioned earlier with the increase in calls. Definitely, the city recognized that and again came together with some major stakeholders in April to take a look at the numbers that police were reporting. And in fact, there was a huge increase in domestic violence related calls. The city, along with a number of organizations in the community, developed another awareness plan to really get the message out there so that individuals knew that even though people were staying at home, services were still available. They could still reach out and get the help if that help was needed. This major awareness campaign was called DV Help. The City of Phoenix has a website that has a bunch of information in regards to this, how to get an order of protection, where to go for help, different resources that are available in the community. And fortunately, our partners included the Arizona Broadcasters Association, radio stations, billboards. So hopefully you were seeing the message, on the news. You were hearing it on the radio because we really wanted to get that message out. With the changes with COVID, not only was there an increased need for services, but unfortunately there was a decrease in funding for a lot of the local shelters who were not able to conduct their annual fundraising events, and they rely on that money. So fortunately, we were able to receive some funding with the CARES Act, and we were able to distribute that to the coalition, and they in turn will get it to some of our local shelters just to make sure that services are still available, meeting CDC guidelines with social distancing, making sure staff and people there at the shelter have the required PPE equipment that they need, and just really making sure that there's limited barriers to getting services.
A really, really important point. And before we wrap up, too, Jenna, talk about how important those dollars have been for your organization and your coalition.
Absolutely. Without the CARES funds, we wouldn't have been able to continue services. As Tammy mentioned, many of our gala events, fundraising events completely shut down. At the same time, costs of providing services actually increased. Because everything had to be distanced, technology was necessary. We needed new internet, new computers. In many cases, it needed protective equipment that shelters just didn't keep on hand. And then also when you're thinking about congregate shelter, there's a lot of bodies in one place. And so actually having to put up physical walls and plexiglass barriers in order to keep survivors safe from each other, unfortunately, due to COVID, all of that required a huge amount of investment. And those CARES funds have been used amazingly by our partners in the community to be able to continue to provide services safely at a distance, but without a break.
Thank you both for joining us today. You're doing very important work in our community. And Tammy, you literally, your office has literally painted the town purple with everything through ribbons and lights and whatnot. So my hat's off to both of you for making a big difference in our community. Up next, what happens when a 911 call is made? We'll hear from Phoenix Police Department and the Family Advocacy Center. But first, hear one woman's story on how she survived domestic violence.
So I didn't really quite know that in my marriage, the things that I was experiencing was actually abuse. I just knew that it was my fault, that it made me feel really horrible. I was continuously broken down and broken down and broken down. Going through an abusive situation on its own is isolating as it is, but to also have that magnified by being told by the outside world that you can't leave your home. It's just the feeling of hopelessness must be overwhelming.
Kimberly Catalino is a survivor of domestic violence within a marriage, though the trauma, including emotional, physical, and sexual abuse, started all the way back in childhood.
The feeling of being trapped, and then also knowing that even if you do try to leave your house, where can you go? Everything is shut down. Where are the services? Will the hospital even take me?
Kimberly escaped prior to the current state of the world, but she shares her story to educate others. She was able to get out because she reached out for help, and those services are still available during this time.
In the past month or so, everybody's lives have changed because of COVID-19. It has changed the way we do outreach and the way we do services, but the services and safety and shelter are still there.
Doreen Nicholas, a domestic violence response manager at the Arizona Coalition to End Sexual and Domestic Violence, says abusers have always used isolation to control victims. She says for most people, getting out of the abusive situation is a slow process, and no matter where you are in that journey, they can help.
Our helpline got a call from somebody who was whispering. She was whispering on the phone, asking for information, and whispered thank you and hung up really quick. It was probably a 45-second phone call.
If you don't know where to find help, the Phoenix Police Department has a page dedicated to resources, one central hub for hotlines, shelters, legal assistance, and other types of support. Visit phoenix.gov/domestic violence.
Find that one person that you feel like you can trust, and turn to them and share your story and have them give you their perspective of the situation, because sometimes it takes that outside person to validate you, to really get you to believe that there is some sort of hope that's out there.
Welcome back. What happens when a 911 call is made? A victim is in crisis. Joining me now is Dolores Burns. She is with the Phoenix Fire Response Team, and she also served as the interim deputy director for the Phoenix Family Advocacy Center. Also joining us is Police Sergeant Heather Maldonado. Thank you both for joining us today. Heather, I'm going to start with you, Sergeant. What happens when that 911 call is made to dispatch? Walk us through the process.
Being that it's one of the most dangerous calls for our law enforcement to go to throughout the nation, we do roll several officers to a call for domestic violence of any type. The officers are going to arrive, hopefully get a hold of the victim, separate the parties, try to get a story from each of them, and then make a determination on whether or not any kind of crime has occurred.
Okay, so then the next step is when does the Family Advocacy Center comes in, or the crisis? Because I know, DC, you've worn both hats. So you go to the call, you determine on the next steps, but when do you actually call the crisis team from fire?
It depends on what type of call PD is going out on. If it's a gunshot wound, we're automatically dispatched out on those. Otherwise, it's up to the officers to request a CR unit to be dispatched out to the scene. We also provide all the after-hour coverage for victim advocacy at the Family Advocacy Center. So if the police bring in a domestic violence victim who is strangled and will be participating in a forensic nurse examination, then they will contact us and ask us to meet the victim at the Family Advocacy Center. Our role is to provide the advocacy at the time of the incident, but then we also have a collaboration with the Family Advocacy Center to refer the victim to their services Monday through Friday so that they can assist them with ongoing advocacy, getting an order of protection, ongoing safety planning, if they need to go to shelter, trying to assist them with shelter. So they pretty much do a full assessment of that victim's needs. They also work with the detectives to keep the victim up to date on what's going on the case, and provide other social services and connections to ongoing therapy and counseling.
So the Family Advocacy Center is a one-stop shop. And just give me the big picture. You touched a little bit upon about some of the services and resources it provides. But again, explain to our viewers what it does on a daily basis.
Absolutely. During COVID, things have changed a little bit. While the Advocacy Center has never closed down, there is a limited number of advocates that are currently working at the facility. Other advocates are teleworking. So victims can either be referred to them by the CR program, they can walk into the facility on their own and request services, and detectives also refer victims to the advocates for ongoing services. If the victim calls in, more than likely they'd be connected with an advocate that's teleworking, who they have been very successful at being able to meet the victim's needs through telephonic means and connecting them to the website when an order of protection is appropriate and needed, on how to apply for the order of protections, and then walking them through that process. The courts have also changed how they've assisted victims, and when possible right now, instead of a victim having to go down to court to get the order of protection, they can actually do that by phone or video. And they can do it by video actually at the Family Advocacy Center, and they can do it by phone, my understanding, at other facilities around the city.
And the good news, and just in our next segment, we're actually going to be talking to Will Gonzalez about those resources there at the court. So 24/7, the Family Advocacy Center, there is a victim advocate that will assist you around the clock, as well as PD. Phoenix PD is there around the clock. I know that the examinations are all part. If somebody was, abused, sexually abused, if you will, Sergeant, you can in fact bring them, as DC just made reference to, back to the FAC, the Family Advocacy Center, to get the tests and exams that are needed. Correct?
Yes, when it comes to a strangulation allegation or a sexual assault examination, they can come to the Family Advocacy Center. You do need a police report to come with those examinations. You do not have to prosecute in order to get either one of those examinations, which is key. There is a limited amount of time that we can do those examinations of about 120 hours. And so we do need to have the victims come in as soon as is reasonable. While they're talking to the officers should offer that examination. And then they can come down to the office, and it's a registered nurse doing those examinations as well. If they need further follow-up with a doctor or a hospital, then the nurses can recommend that as well.
And just big
And I just
picture,
want to
and
add,
yeah, sure, Dolores, absolutely, please
sorry,
interject.
sorry. The cost of that examination is not on the victim. The cost of that examination is incurred by the county attorney's office. So the victim does not have to pay for that examination. And one other clarification, while we do offer victim advocacy 24/7, the Family Advocacy Center is actually open to walk-ins and appointments from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Another very excellent point, but not to discount, because you guys are available 24/7, but the walk-ins, okay, good clarification. And I'm really happy you brought up the COVID and the COVID dollars and how it's helping you sustain and doing the great work that you do. But let's talk about how that the domestic violence is in fact on the rise due to the severe isolation and being with the perpetrator at your own home, or maybe he's lost his job. How rampant is that happening here in our city?
For Phoenix Police, we've seen a 20% increase in the first 10 months of this year in cases, and that's roughly about 5,000 extra cases this year from last year. We have 25 detectives right now investigating these cases as they come in, and the increase has been felt significantly. The victims that are isolated into their homes, they're not getting out nearly as much because they're not going to work. They've been terminated from their job. They don't have the option to drop their children off to school with all the schools being closed. That opportunity for outside contact, even with family members, is much more limited and restricted now. The hope is that anybody watching this, if they find themselves in a position where they need help, you can text 911, send your address, send a quick note with regards to domestic violence or, whatever is happening. So you can text, you can call, you can leave the line open, just to anything to let us know that you need help. We respond to all 911 hang up calls. So if the call is connected, we can respond to that as well, especially if there's any screaming or whatnot in the background. So do call, do reach out for help. And for the Family Advocacy Center, you don't have to have a police report to come get help. You can just get the help that you need if you're not ready for the police activity involved in all of it.
Well, thank you both for all the great work you do and making sure our citizens and our residents stay safe and get the justice they need. Stay with us. Up next, meet Debbie Valenzuela. She is a victim's advocate for the Family Advocacy Center.
The most dangerous calls is domestic violence. And if we can help the victim not go back, that's what we are here for.
Debbie Valenzuela is a mobile victim advocate with the City of Phoenix's Family Advocacy Center. Debbie's office is her car, and Debbie's job is to work closely with Phoenix Police to be a resource for domestic violence victims, whether or not we're in a worldwide pandemic.
Domestic violence is a pandemic itself. And because of COVID, it has increased. So any domestic violence calls that officers are out, I then respond and I work with the victim.
Debbie spends her days monitoring Phoenix police calls for service. When she hears a call for domestic violence and it is safe to show up, she goes with her reservoir of resources: toys for kids, educational materials on the cycle of abuse for adults. She also has food, personal hygiene items, even temporary cell phones.
When a victim calls police, they are nervous, they are scared, they don't know what's going to happen. And my role as a victim advocate is to be there and support them in any way I can.
Debbie assists with strategizing safety plans, filing orders of protection, planning and placement into shelters, explaining what's next in the judicial process, accompanying to court, and sometimes simply just listening to what the victim is going through. Debbie says she does all of this because she's been through all of this.
Being a victim of domestic violence was the hardest thing that I could have ever gone, but I have come over that, and it's been easy now because I see this has happened to me, because now I can educate other women and I can let them know if I came out, you can come out, and there is hope for you.
Debbie is a mobile victim advocate, and there are many more advocates waiting to help at the city's Family Advocacy Center. D.C. Ernst, acting deputy director here at the FAC, says their call-in and even walk-in services are still fully functioning during this time.
Domestic violence, or any type of violence, doesn't stop simply because of a crisis or a pandemic. So this is critical work that we do to try to help individuals who've been victimized in some way, shape, or form.
You can reach an advocate by calling the Family Advocacy Center or visit their website and complete a Contact Victim Services form. If you are in immediate danger, call or text 911.
Welcome back to this very special virtual report on domestic violence. I'm Deborah Cedillo-Dugan. Here's another victim who survived her attacker.
Leslie Beatty is an engineer, a certified project manager, a Six Sigma black belt, a mom of two, and a survivor of domestic violence.
It knows no race, it knows no economic background, it knows it can go from the poverty-stricken all the way to the CEO.
And it knows no global health pandemic either. Domestic violence continues despite COVID-19. For Leslie, the abuse is not physical, but psychological.
I am nowhere close to my ex-spouse, But we still have to interact to exchange our children and make sure that our children are staying ahead when it comes to school.
Leslie says she and her ex-spouse have pre-designated time with their 9 and 11-year-old sons that is adjusted based on kids being in school versus on summer break. Since kids are doing school from home right now, Leslie says her ex-spouse has tried to use that to keep the kids longer.
He was blatantly telling them, we're now in the summer schedule because school is closed. When he's supposed to return them on Sunday, he doesn't show up, and then he'll file an order, emergency temporary order, on Monday, and that keeps him from being, charged with custodial interference.
Leslie says because of this, their kids are getting behind in schoolwork. So she did her homework, researching parenting guidelines during COVID-19. She found the answer from the Maricopa County Superior Court.
While schools are closed, parenting time should continue as if children are still attending school under the school calendar of the relevant district.
Leslie took this information to police and regained rightful time with her kids. But she recognizes others in similar situations may not know their rights.
I would like for people to understand that they're not alone, that they have resources out there that they can tap into, and there are people out here who are willing to be advocates and help guide you through the process of even writing a motion when you can't afford an attorney.
The Phoenix Police Department has a page dedicated to domestic violence resources, hotlines, shelters, legal assistance, and other types of support that are fully functioning during this time. Visit phoenix.gov/domestic violence.
The pandemic has changed the way we live our daily lives, but for victims, they still need important resources and services. Here to talk about a little bit how they can get more help is Will Gonzalez. He's the Executive Court Administrator for Phoenix Municipal Court to explain how some COVID care dollars are helping those victims. Thanks for joining us, Will. Nice seeing you.
Nice as well.
Let's start off from the top. How many dollars are you receiving from for COVID dollars, and how are they being used?
Well, City Council approved $75,000 through the COVID-19 funds, and a endeavor to make it easier for individuals to obtain a order of protection without having to travel to court. The court purchased computers that had embedded video cameras, so they can do a remote ex parte hearing with the court, so they didn't have to travel to the court, which sometimes is a barrier for many individuals.
Absolutely. So these computers that are being purchased, you have computers that are coming their way. They're Chrome computers, I understand. Have they been purchased already, and how will they be distributed so victims can in fact use them, and how will they use them?
So they were on back order for several months. We evidently ordered Chromebooks. Well, the rest of the United States had ordered them as well. There was quite a demand this past summer. So we just got them in. We have 20 Chromebooks that we purchased. 16 have already been programmed and are ready to be deployed within the community. There are 16 sites that have been identified. The city manager's office works out there to find partnerships with various providers, non-government organizations such as healthcare facilities, some school resource centers. And so they're going to be deployed in those centers and health centers as well for individuals who may be experiencing issues that would require them to get an order of protection. And so again, that goes to the issue of them coming in. They don't have to get into a car or a bus or a taxi or an Uber to drive to the court. They can just do the whole hearing, fill out the petition right there online, and then they can remote into our court.
Now that's excellent. Now, will there'll be some kind of assistance at some of these various locations as well?
Yeah, so we will be deploying them. Next week we'll start out with the first 3 sites. We will be deploying them personally, as well as providing training for their staff members, and they will be in contact with us. We already have a training module that we already sent out to all the providers for them to read it before we do the training. So they will get all the full assistance of the court. And then the Family Advocacy Center has also joined in to make sure any of their questions, any issues that they will have with some of these petitioners can be answered through the use of their advocates.
Now, since this is the first time doing this, I mean, you're anticipating it's just like anything else. They're just filing it online, and your guys are not going to miss a beat. It's still the same process. If you could walk us through that real quickly, that process once they do the application.
Well, the longest part would probably be the application itself because it's an online. And so what we have required of the stakeholders to make sure they have is a strong internet connection, telephone if they need to call us or the Family Advocacy Center. They'd fill out the petition. That petition would be submitted to the court. And then when a court opens up, they would be hearing through a remote video conferencing, similar to what we're doing right now with the judge, explaining to them why they need, that being explained to the judge why they need an order of protection. And so they'll go through that process as if they were coming into the court. But again, to my knowledge, we're the first court in the state that's really implementing this as a solution based because of the COVID-19, as well as a matter of convenience for our residents and any other person who happens to stumble upon one of these health centers or community organizations. And the ideal really is to take justice to them and not be limited to the bricks and mortars of a court building, but really justice coming out into the community.
Well said. And you know what we've heard throughout the entire show, with COVID right now, the increase of domestic violence is just rampant, and it's very, very unfortunate. But at the same time, the victims, can actually go to a safe place and to use a computer if they are frightened or not able to at home. Well, you do such great work and really advocating for our community, especially those in need. We really, really appreciate you spending a few moments with us to talk about this very important service.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are living in very interesting times right now, and it's now more than ever is time to be kind to each other. If you or you know someone who's being abused at home or anywhere, there's help out there, and there's people who care. Thanks for joining us.